Coming up on Network Africa, 34 soldiers go missing after a boat transporting elite Cameroonian troops sinks off the country's southeastern coast. No less than 10 people die in a suicide attack at a mosque in Maiduguri, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. And clashes between police and residents of a Nile island in Cairo, Egypt, turns deadly. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. We start off with stories that made headlines at the weekend.
At least 8 people were killed on Saturday in a stampede in a soccer stadium in the Senegalese capital, Dakar, during a match between 2 local teams. A fight broke out between fans at the Demba Diop Stadium and police fired tear gas to break it up. The resulting confusion triggered the stampede. Stampedes at soccer matches have been a major challenge. At least 17 people died and scores were injured, also in a stampede at a match in Angola in February, when hundreds of supporters stormed the stadium. Elsewhere, thousands of Malians took to the streets on Saturday to protest against a planned referendum on constitutional changes that will give extra powers to President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, create new regions, and recognize the Tuaregs' ethnic homeland. The referendum on the constitution had been planned for July 9, but the president pushed back the date after the first mass protest in June. No new date has been set, but Keïta said at the G5 Sahel Security Summit in Bamako on July 2nd that he will push ahead. Some opponents say the constitution will give too much power to the president, while other opponents say the lack of security in Mali makes it impossible to hold a fair referendum. Finally, in DR Congo, nearly a dozen men armed with knives and batons and wearing red headbands burst into the largest market in the capital, Kinshasa, killing its administrator and wounding several police officers. People ran for blocks to flee the scene, and shops on nearby streets were shuttered as dozens of soldiers and police officers were deployed in pickup trucks. The incident in the heart of Kinshasa's business district further heightened security fears after a series of mass prison breaks and worsening militia violence across the country.
34 soldiers are missing after a boat transporting elite Cameroonian troops sank off the country's southeastern coast. 3 soldiers were rescued. The boat was on its way to refuel at the heavily militarized Bakassi area, a border town with West African neighbor Nigeria. A statement from Cameroon's defense ministry says the cause of the accident remains unclear. The boat was carrying troops from the Rapid Intervention Brigade, which has been at the forefront of the fight against the militant Islamist group Boko Haram in Cameroon. Well, elsewhere in Cameroon, about 100 people have been arrested in the last 4 months for their alleged involvement in an internet scam to defraud foreigners. The arrests were made after FBI shared a list of 602 suspects with Cameroonian authorities. It's believed that up to 2,700 people, mainly in the US and France, have lost about $7 million. Some of the suspects pleaded guilty after appearing in court last week, while others denied the charge. They're accused of taking payment for traditional Cameroonian outfits, which they failed to deliver, and of hacking into cash cards. 5 park rangers have been killed in a joint operation with the army to rescue an American journalist and 3 park rangers who went missing in a wildlife reserve in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The head of Congo's Park Service confirmed that the journalist and rangers had been rescued from a group of Mai Mai militia fighters involved in mining gold inside the reserve. The U.S. State Department says it's aware of the reports, but could not identify the journalists who had been rescued for privacy reasons. Gunmen attacked the group late on Friday in the Okapi Wildlife Reserve in Mambasa territory. Some others in the group, including 2 Dutch journalists, escaped.